You blink an eye and it's done. Uranus's roof, and roofers are these roofers. A neighbor saw something, I think, and they're working with the police. There were some people in disguise. I think we're going to be hearing something by Tuesday. This is not good for the perps. They're just in complete shock. Keep your eyes out. Welcome and thank you for joining me tonight. I'm Astrologer Val Evans. It's Wednesday night. This is a big week for the Nancy Guthrie case. The mother of the Today Show host, Savannah Guthrie, is out there and needs to be found. There's still more discovery to come, and just today, a black glove was found in the brush less than 2 miles from Nancy's Tucson home. That's in the Catalina foothills. I'll be reading the charts and cards to see what additional predictions we can make and what I'm seeing for Friday the 13th. Thanks for liking and subscribing. Welcome new subscribers, and a special thanks to our members, the valedictorians, for making the show possible. For case updates and more clues on other cases, you can follow me on Instagram at Undercover Astrologer. On this channel, we look at various astrological charts, including a weekly chart, which is going to show us the highs and lows of the investigation, what is gained, like video, what is shocking, and new important developments. And welcome, it's Silver Swag. Very nice to see you. We're talking a lot about silver, the Aquarius color. Sharon, thank you so much for joining us. Airspace is now open. They changed their mind. Of course, the news, the FAA shutting all airspace over El Paso, Texas, the next 10 days for unspecified security reasons until February 20th. At least that's what we were seeing, I guess, the past 24 hours. Since we started the segments on Savannah, we've been talking a lot about a lot of airplanes, just things kind of shutting down, power being out. So they are not saying, but they did say this over military bases. You say, Shauna? Sharon, you said combat against cartels happening in Mexico. Helicopters were filmed engaging targets in the Sinaloa region. There are also updates with the United States closing its airspace along the border. We're seeing some Scorpio in this crime chart, so that can mean cartels and gangs. Might not be a solid clue yet that we're getting. Gemini is pizza. It's pasta. It's Italian. So if you see the first show that I did on Nancy and Savannah, and there is a playlist that you can go to, you are going to hear about Gemini, about pizza. It's afternoon in Australia. Thanks for joining and moderating, Angel. Is this the military you saw happening on Wednesday? Well, I wasn't really sure how it was going to turn out, and it's not necessarily me seeing it. It's the chart showing us. So I'm just a translator. We were talking about Fort Wright, which is where Savannah's mom, Nancy, was born. And so there could be some kind of military angle to this. Yes, Shauna is here too. All right, so let me just say thank you. Really appreciate the locals coming in and giving us a little bit of feedback on our clue about silver bells and the bell clue. So interesting that we got a clue. The police can bait a perp using Bitcoin, and the way that the bait is described is a cowbell. I couldn't believe that when I saw that. Sandra, thank you for mentioning that you also have Tank Verde Falls, which is green falls. So falls is a word of Aquarius. This is a real Aquarius case. And so it's always interesting to follow along with the case to see those clues that come in. Fran says, I'm an Aquarian. I've been following this channel for a while, so thank you for that. For some reason, we're talking about photos and video, and then we see, really, we're talking about the eyes the day before the perp was seen, his eyes on the camera. And it was kind of freaking me out the night before when Zombie came on and he has that bloodshot eye. And I was like, oh, I can't even look at the comment because I keep looking at that picture. The next day we see the eyes. Then yesterday we were talking about the gloves. Then the glove comes in. We'll have to see what else we can get. JR says, did you say flowers and disguise? And so, yes, we had that Taurus clues from the first show. And who knew that this perp was going to use flowers to disguise his face as he's looking into the Ring camera. So real quick, here is Aquarius and all the clues. We're seeing the eye. We're also going to see a lot of information about DNA, and we're going to see the word break. We're going to see the word shock. So the person that was pulled over, the headlines today were how this person who didn't know anything about Nancy Guthrie was pulled over and he was shocked. Lots about gathering potential DNA. We've got helicopters. We actually have a pair of twin helicopter pads right outside of Silverbell. So that's an interesting clue, I think. We've got Mercury that is in Aquarius in the crime chart. Mercury is twin with Aquarius. It can be airplanes or engines, twin engines, or a twin engine airplane. So we're going to see, of course, break-ins, things about electricians, even divorce and breakups. Electricity too. Real quick, I wanted to just show you Nicole Brown Simpson and Ron Goldman's crime chart. This is around 9:15 when they were killed. And we have Uranus, which shows the DNA. Uranus is DNA. Neptune is right next to it. There's going to be DNA coming from, it was actually, it would be described as a pool because of the Neptune, but there would also be conspiracy theories around the DNA for this case. And then, of course, the home, we would see headlines about her neck, which is Taurus, Mars, which is blood, and South Node, blood was left behind at her house. Neptune also showing that Pisces element, so that can show a foot or footprint. So terrible crime chart to look at, but we're looking at Uranus. We're looking at Aquarius. Uranus is the Lord of Aquarius, so that's going to give us some kind of a indicator. And why do I have a picture of this couple? Well, we were talking about beards the last show. That was last night, I guess. And here is a time in Tom Cruise's life when his life would change. And that's an Aquarius word, to change. If you remember the original movie to Vanilla Sky was Abre los ojos. And the words that were mentioned right as Vanilla Sky opened was Penelope Cruz whispering, "Open your eyes." So that's eyes is Aquarius. And what would happen soon after this movie was filmed, Tom Cruise would get a divorce. So this was kind of like open your eyes to Nicole Kidman. So now we're going to look at the chart ahead, and then we're going to look at some real surprising things in Nancy Guthrie's predictive solar return chart. And you'll be able to see that. Thank you, Toy. Yes, everybody, remember to hit the like button. It was Angel. I thought you would like that reference. I've only been on just a few minutes, Deb, so you haven't missed anything. I haven't really gotten into the charts yet or any predictions. Welcome, Ample Spark and Cassie and Sharon, your Taurus. Taurus, there's so many good things about Taurus. Taurus people love to be around flowers and luxury. It's a Venus-ruled sign, and that's a benefic, so that can be really good. And Kimberly, I have a 5-year-old granddaughter. She has 5 planets in Aquarius, 5th house natally, Sun, Moon, Saturn, Jupiter, and Mercury. This is going to be quite a out-of-the-box thinker. Maybe a rebel, but definitely intelligent. And what is the word? Here's another clue for you that I was going to put down and I completely forgot. But when we're talking about tech, what is the word they always put with tech? They call it smart. They call it a smartwatch. Somebody who has that many planets in Aquarius is going to be smart. And so this could also be maybe a clue we can apply to this case. Something with the word smart. Elizabeth Smart was a name. We might see something with a name with that word. So, and Iseral, welcome. Thank you so much for supporting this channel. We really appreciate it. And let's see. Iseral, in September of 2023, you said we were in retrograde and not good for elective surgery. Though I had a bad feeling, I went through with my surgery and ended up going sepsis and almost died. Oh my God, I'm so sorry to hear that. It is really a risk to do something. Sometimes you can't help it. Sometimes you're told it's very confusing. Doctors will tell you you can't wait. You've got to push through it. And it's hard to listen to other people when you're getting what seems to be really good advice. And there's no way the doctors can make a prediction like that. So we're so glad that you're with us. That is a hard story. Stardust Twinkle, nice to see you. Is there something rubbing against? You might have heard the dog. Are you hearing it now? I didn't think you'd hear it. That's Sparky. It's Sparky, which is Aquarius. That's weird. Let me know if you hear it now. He went away for a little while. I've been keeping up, but in and out of the hospital with my daughter and her firstborn. He's perfect, just had severe jaundice, comes home tomorrow. Toy, I'm so sorry. I hope everything's okay. Okay. All right, so let me get to this chart. And this is the chart. I said it's for next week. This was last week we were looking at this. So I'm going to have to say this is the chart for this week. So let me just black this out or red it out or whatever. And so did I put this down? I thought I did. Yeah, I made this a little bit easier to see. So where are we right now? For a predictive chart, we're going to go with the time that a person disconnected the camera. And we're going to go for the beginning of the week, which was last Sunday, but at the same time. So that's going to start this week, and it's going to give us a prediction. And okay, I just want to make sure. Okay, it's good now. All right. I know. Your doggy clothing designer, dogs. That is so amazing. Yeah. Great point about the smart clue, perhaps a smartphone or camera. Yeah. Yeah, there could be some kind of smart tech. Erin, you have Aqua Rising. Very smart lady. Not to say that some of us aren't smart. Some of us have Uranus hitting certain planets that give that Aquarius energy. You don't necessarily have to have your top 3 in Aquarius. And also keep in mind that if you have your solar return, there's every possibility you might have an Aquarius rising, and everyone believes you're extra smart that year. Just consult the solar return. And if any of you are interested in forensic astrology lessons, you can go to my website, astrologywithval.as.me, and I have a special right now through Valentine's Day if you are interested for reading. So just check that out. Okay, so let's look at the predictive chart, keeping in mind this is Sunday at 1:47. Monday, 1:47. Tuesday, the 10th, 1:47. We saw some shocks. We saw some photos. How did we see those photos? That's right. We saw a black and white photo coming in. And how did we see that? Well, there is this little blue line that is kind of pointing to the 3rd. We don't necessarily have to get to this point to get photos. The photos came in because of the sextile to the 3rd, to Tuesday. So that's when, and this was pretty amazing. This was tech. We were going to hear about Google. We were going to hear about how they Pluto dug for information and how they got the information. And there is Uranus there. So we've got this triangle that it's like a code. You put these elements together and you've got some photos. So that's what was coming in Tuesday, which was a shock to everybody. I mean, people woke up and were just like seeing this masked man. And then we come into, and what's Pisces? Pisces is a masked man. Saturn can be the person himself, could be someone with a dark complexion. And now Wednesday, we haven't gotten to 1:47 yet, but we are going to be waking up in the Pisces time frame, and Neptune is going to activate. It's going to be super strong. And this could be more photos that we're seeing, but keep in mind that today we saw what? A plastic glove. And that was part of the success. Part of fortune, which I described in the last show, is it's going to be a day where everybody feels like things are quite successful. This is the success. Not only is that success, but we have the amplifier North Node next to it. This is a lot of success. And in Pisces, it's going to show things like photos, but it might show something at nighttime. So we didn't think, once we got through Tuesday and we were like, wow, we got these photos, nobody was really expecting that there would be a glove that was found. And it's very possible I'll do some cards, but I think from the chart, they very well may have maybe some DNA, some fingerprints. It certainly looks like a gain that happened on Wednesday, which was earlier today. And now we're going to get into Thursday. This is going to be Thursday at 1:47 a.m. So this is going to be during the day tomorrow. And then we're going to change to Mars. Now, this could be a car. We might be seeing DNA and some kind of announcement about a car, a smart car, electric car. This is the smart stuff. Metal, something with metal. Maybe it's not a car, maybe it's a vehicle of some sort. And we've already seen a silver vehicle, which is Aquarius. So maybe we're going to see more information about the silver vehicle. But is this, I'm going to do some cards here. Just ask the cards about this, this glove. Is this glove going to have a clue for us that's going to help this case? The sun reversed. Well, it certainly looks in the chart like it is going to help. But we've got the sun reversed. It's a female. Let me do a clarifier card. Does she have a glove on? She's got her hands covered. Six of Swords. So some of this new evidence might push these people to stay on the move, to keep moving. And that's the other thing that I wanted to look at too in this chart is the press. So let me go back. The press, I can imagine, annoys a lot of people because they're talking about the case and things should be kept secret, but sometimes the investigators can't keep them secret. If they're looking in a field and finding something and the media is there, then there's nothing they can do. Unless I guess they could fence off the area and say no media or something like that. But unfortunately, this FBI, they really love the media, and in the sense that they want to be seen as working and being successful. So what we would do is we would look and see where the media is and if they're helping or hurting. And the sun is here. They're not helping. This is the victim. It does not look like they're helping. There's a little bit of a blue line here, and there's a possibility that they might find something in the next couple of days. So they might redeem themselves. But they are talking about DNA. They're talking about evidence, which is Aquarius evidence. And I think it's spooking the people who might be around Nancy. So let's take a look and see where Mars is. And I didn't see that, John Golden Sun. Did I also see that a neighbor found the mask by their garage? Anyone else see that? No. Thank you, Shauna. Yes, don't forget to subscribe. Kimberly Allen, so do you think this is two dark-skinned males, one wearing gloves, one not, broke in and startled this lady at night and kidnapped her? Perhaps someone in the car as lookout. Yeah, I could see that, or maybe even more than one female. Yes, two people. I mentioned exactly. Do you think the nice job with the smart there? Do you think the perp is outsmarting everyone? And you were asking Stardust Twinkle that. I hope there are leads. We don't know. Yeah, media, don't touch anything you find, but also broadcasting things. We've got TMZ in the middle of everything as well. And I'm not sure about the 41 minutes part. Yeah, the press are absolutely obsessed with this case. They seem to be 24/7 outside the houses. Yeah, especially with the drones. Yep, we're going to see a lot of drones. They have been looking for a car, I think. Yes, each day relates to a planet, exactly. Angel, you said, do you find any relevance in the days of the week being represented by planets? Is that astrological at all? Yes, we are going to find out a lot of information by remembering the lords of each sign, because that's going to give us 50% of the information. So we definitely have to look and see where the Lord is. Angie, thanks for writing in. You said silverbells. There are the Silverbell Mountains in Arizona, and they're flowers called silverbells. Yes. I want to show you a map real quick, and then I'm going to go back to this predictive chart. Silverbells. So let's look at Silverbell Lake. Sometimes we like to look at twins. So it's kind of like two lakes, maybe two bodies of water. But look at what we have here. We've got Jala choppers. Are these helicopter landing pads? And it's off of Silverbell Road. And it's right by, now I think somebody said Santa Cruz River is dry, which would actually be Saturn in Pisces, a dry river. There's also a water reclamation facility. Isn't that interesting? Flowing Wells is above this. I always like to look and see where the malls are, where the Walmart is, because you're going to get a lot of cars. It's going to be like a big parking lot. That seems to be in the chart. We've got things that split. We're going to have maybe a body of water that splits. We might have a road that splits in two. Here's the Catalina foothills. You can see how it's over to the east. So Tucson Mall is in the middle. Natalie, I think the pizza being ordered is relevant. My Pizzagate card came out the other day and I asked for clues on where she's located. Okay. What were those flowers you put over the ring? Saw that the backpack has been traced to Walmart. I was wondering if they were going to do that. You think somebody's playing games? Let's do a card. Is this perp playing games with this family? I think they're desperate and they're about to get shocked again. The whole world saw this guy with his disguise on, and we were talking about how there could be some kind of new technology that nobody's ever seen before that's going to help with this case, because that would be Aquarius. Well, could we fill in this guy's face with AI? And maybe that's going to be something that they do. Maybe they haven't done it yet, but kind of like those photos that we see when a person who's been kidnapped and goes missing and then they age. Maybe they're going to do that with somebody who you can only see their eyes and their mouth. But I am anticipating that there's going to be some kind of new technology. But anyway, the question is, are these people serious about getting money? Page of Wands. Looks like yes. Obviously, amateurs. What will be the outcome of these games with these perps? Outcome. Oh, yeah, they're going to be running all right. And it's going to be fast. Maybe a motorcycle. This is somebody trying to get away with something. And we might see them running. Maybe somebody with a hoodie. The gloves are also Walmart tattoo artist gloves. How about that? Roses? You think they're roses? They look smaller than that. We're talking about the flowers that we saw on the camera. I was going to say that the blood should be on the glove. I was talking about Friday now, Friday the 13th. So this is at 147, the 6th house. So we're going to look back at Venus, and Venus is here at 27 degrees. And you can see something that looks pretty bad here. This is a T-square. This is one of the perps. It seems as if there's another shock here. This is a local person. Taurus could be tracked through the bank account. That would be the bank. This person is stopped. And who is this person? Well, we've got Mercury right next to her showing a thief. So this is a female thief. Maybe there is somebody in the background. Maybe we might see a guy that's being apprehended, but there would seem to be a female accomplice or someone who knows about this case. And we've also talked about spies or people who are talking and giving up, basically. There's something here. There's an announcement coming out. Mercury is an announcement. And what is it? You see this blue line? It's going to the moon. This is the victim. This is Nancy. Are we seeing Nancy speak? There's Nancy. And look at how there's the trine to Mercury. This is either an announcement about Nancy or Nancy is able to speak and maybe somebody hears her. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe somebody overhears something. There's an eavesdropping as part of this. That's going to be 1:47 in the morning. It's going to be a little bit earlier than that, maybe at midnight, because Taurus starts a little bit before the sixth house, and the sixth house is going to show 1:47. So, maybe it's even 11 o'clock on Friday. So Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, really early in the morning. It's going to shock a lot of people because that T-square, that's a big deal. That is all the things Aquarius that you could think of that's coming in here. And there could be a group of shocks, 2 or more shocks, twin shocks. I think of twin towers sometimes, but Mercury was more in Aquarius. In this case, Mercury is in Pisces. They might be shocked with Pisces there. The disguise comes off or something like that. But anyway, that seems like a pretty big time period. And then this is going to be Saturday. So there could be another shock that comes in. So Friday and Saturday, these are more developments. It doesn't look that good for the police. The police are here, Mars, and as you can tell, pulling over the wrong person, getting things mixed up. And you've got these green lines here showing the quincunx. It's kind of stress. And they can't get to Nancy. They can't get to her. You could see that right there. So it almost makes me think that somehow, if she's doing anything, I don't know if it's going to be a police officer that's going to get to her. Because of this Pisces, I wonder if it's going to be somebody who's like could be somebody undercover. It could actually be a body of water. I don't know, an outlet for her to get out somehow. It looks like a disguise of some sort. Even though sometimes my eyes will go to the red lines and it's like, oh God, what's going to happen on Saturday? But we also have to be reminded that there's going to be this in the mix as well, possibly tech that is being used on that photo in the ring cam, or there could be more photos coming out. So it's sort of a mixed bag. It's like shock about new evidence between Friday and Saturday, as well as shock for this lady, whoever this is. 27 degrees, that's a Gemini. Could show another profile that the person is smaller in stature, with 27 degrees showing Gemini. And how do you get to Gemini? Each zodiac sign is going to be 1, 2, 3, 3 being Gemini. And then you go around again. And so that's where you're going to get 13 is Aries, 14 is Taurus, 15 is Gemini. And then you go around again and then you stop at Leo. So that's how we get to those degrees. And we thank Nicola from Serbia for introducing that to us. He has a wonderful book about the degrees. What would not surprise me, and keeping in mind, the fifth house starts at 1:47. So we're talking about nighttime. This is going to be early this morning, and now Mars is going to activate. So maybe when we wake up, we're going to hear about a car, a smart car, some type of metal. Third house, it's definitely transportation. So plane. Third house there's a lot of short trips here. This can also be an Airbnb. These are rentals. Third house, somebody's in an Airbnb. They're in a rental house. So that could come in too. But also it's Aries that we're talking about. And Aries is the military equipment, military tech. They're really trying. And there's a small bit of progress, but yeah, this could actually be a military person right here. And they could be, that's interesting. The sun is the co-ruler of the perp. And there's a sextile to Aries. And this is on Thursday. So maybe a clue is coming in. This is a scar, it's a mark, it's a tattoo. It's a military tattoo. It's a red mark, and we might be hearing something about the perp and a wound. Aries is also blood. So maybe there's something that has to do with his blood that's coming in. I don't know. But there's a bunch of clues there. All right. I've got two more charts here. This is Nancy's solar return chart. I want to look at last year to see what was happening when she was filming with her daughter, Savannah. I want to see if there was anybody who was nefarious around them. And of course, with the solar return chart, if you look at your own solar return chart, you can start on your birthday and then make every house your the next month. So for Nancy, she starts her birthday in January. Second house would be February, third house, March, and so forth. And so this was the time frame. December, November, October. Yeah. So I think it was October, wasn't it October 17th where they were filming? And so this time frame is going to be September 27th. So they were in the Capricorn, if I rectified this correctly, which I think I did. And Saturn was ruling this time frame for Nancy in her solar return chart. And what is a solar return chart? It's the picture of the sky on your birthday that year. And so you can use it as a prediction. And what we use sometimes for crime charts, we'll look at victims, we'll look at people who are suspects, what they were doing. And so Saturn is here, and it shows what Nancy might be doing. And there is, it seems as if, Moon is in Capricorn here in this time frame. I don't know if it was when they were filming. It was activating Saturn there. Well, look at this. Look at how there is a square to Jupiter in Gemini right here. This could be a thief. This could definitely be a thief. It does show her kids and what's happening with her children. I don't want to go there because I don't know if I've rectified this correctly, but it does look like there's some tension with one of the children. I mean, that happens. It happens with people. But then it starts to get into this time period. And again, we've got another thief here. This is the time frame when the Today Show segment was aired. And this is the thief. This is the thief. Okay, so we've got this square to her, and she is in Taurus, the ruler of her chart for last year. And so we're going to change it to this year in a second. There's so much Pisces there. So showing water, showing doing things at nighttime. But these are spies too. And this is around the December time frame. There's that female. This could be Nancy. That rules the chart, but there's a whole lot of people in her 12th house that she can't see. And that is around the holiday period. And then once we get into, this is January 27th, then we're in the Aries period. There's Mars, which would rule that period of time. And so that's early mid-January. And we've got the opposition to Mercury. Oops. And oh my gosh. Mercury rules the 6th house of people who work for you. It doesn't necessarily mean it's one of her workers, but it could be somebody who knew or knows one of her workers. Wow. It is the 6th house. Mercury in Capricorn can mean a worker that has dark features or might not have much money. And they are very hurt, it looks like, I don't make this up. The sixth house is a worker. It's a coworker for most of us. But if you saw this in your chart and this was your coworker way up here, well, if you had Pluto next to it, what would I tell you? I would say, watch out for that coworker this year because they are jealous. There's something that is making this person jealous. Pluto represents jealousy. But I'm afraid to say this is the worst one of all. Black Moon Lilith and Mercury. This is the thief. This is somebody who is jealous, who wants revenge, and who wants to take. It wouldn't be surprising if there were other things that were taken from her home and maybe she didn't know it right away. Maybe there was some kind of issue with someone who worked for her, somebody who was in that house, and there was tension because maybe she couldn't find something and they let somebody go. It's possible. So that could be part of the equation for this predictive chart. And well, thank you for joining LPB 4979. And you help the channel so much. So I really appreciate it. There have been a lot of flowers being delivered outside of Nancy's house. Could there be a clue to Nancy's location nestled by the flowers? Ooh, that's a good one. I really like that. And we might be seeing more about the flowers because of the Uranus there in Taurus. So a garden could be somebody in, maybe a clue in the garden, a gardener. You know, that's the shock. She's a Leo rising. The sun is here. Hopefully you can see that. God, look at the cat on that. That's a Leo clue. That's weird. She's a Leo rising in 2026. And all of this Aquarius. So the sun, she's over here with these people in this person's house. The seventh house is the perp. I'm trying to think why she had all that Pisces last year. But you could see that T-square where she's stuck there. This is a female, somebody trying to get revenge because of that Scorpio there. So if this is the 27th, she's going to be the sun this whole time, pretty much, until March, which would still be Mercury there. That moon in Taurus. This is a house. What am I seeing with all this Aquarius where she's stuck in the middle there? It's a split, something split. I like to look at the blue lines to see that's this Uranus with the blue line. This is to escape. But it looks like there's somebody in that group. These are the crypto people. These are the crypto thieves in the 11th house. The 11th house is friends. Could this be an acquaintance of one of her friends? 11th house is a friendship. Aquarius is friendship. Is friendship a clue? 11th house is community, subscription. Maybe they're being tracked through their subscription. Is this a friend of Nancy's that is involved? Are you ready for this? Yes. So there might be somebody that she considers a friend. Maybe it's an acquaintance or something. Or a friend of one of her family members. Yeah. Maybe she trusted from her church. She goes to an online church, although that's interesting that you say that because the 11th house is a network. It's I don't see much about churches though. I really don't. Just a little bit of Sag, but nothing there in her solar, I don't think. Something happened around Christmas time. Yeah, all of that. It was like people were in disguise. You saw that. I heard there's an Airbnb beside Nancy's house. Whoa. If we were looking at last year's chart, maybe possible that she could sneak out, but she looks pretty tied up there. There's got to be a way though. There's got to be some way. She's seeing other people leave, but these are pretty jealous people. Like they really want revenge on somebody. I agree, Stardust. I think although Nancy is frail, she's spunky and wouldn't go down without a really good effort to save herself. Every hour must be absolutely agonizing for this family. You can't even imagine. Natalie, I get a woman that might turn on the rest, but I don't know if the chart shows that. Yeah, I think so. This group is weak. Somebody's going to get tripped up here. Somebody is going to get tripped up. I think it's going to be this week. Yeah, Silverbell's Christmas time. That's so interesting that you got that. So I'm really freaked out about the cowbell, which is a term in crypto for putting a little or asking for some kind of a deposit. And then you can be tracked, maybe putting in $152 or which is what they did. And I noticed that the numbers that were deposited were, I think it was was it from the Guthrie family or from the police? I don't know, but they equaled 8, which is a Scorpio degree. Joni, do you see any direction we should look? The Circle K area seems to be a good area. I was initially getting northwest, but it seems like there could be some clues west. When I saw south with the person that was pulled over, even though it does make sense because that's the way to get out of the country, I was shocked. I was like, I wasn't expecting that. So we'll have to see where I think they're going to find this car. They're going to track a car or an Airbnb or something like that. So that's going to give us another clue as to the direction. That's coming up soon. Coinbase, yeah. You think it's a colleague or a friend of the family? Yeah. All right. Well, I got to get to Sparky. He is very, very impatient tonight. But yeah, I pray the glove or mask that was found has DNA evidence. Remember, prayer works, guys. Please pray for Nancy. And I'll be on again tomorrow, and we'll see what happened and how this predictive chart plays out. So I really appreciate you coming on, and see you tomorrow.